I'm trying to ring the bells, right? I was gonna do 11 horns, but in all seriousness, I have lost count of how many horns it was. So we might be at 10. We might be at 11. That sounds like 11 to me. All right, happy Friday, you guys. We are about to kick this off in groovy style. Keep your adventure pants on. Keep your hands inside the vehicle at all times. Holy moly, happy Friday to each and every one of you that is tuning in. And so, you know, I'm also recording the podcast at this moment in time. So if you are listening to the podcast, I appreciate you. If you're not familiar with the podcast, search for Rare Bits. It's kind of everywhere. If I can get you guys to cross-pollinate, that would be absolutely brilliant. And the goal is like it and share it. Tell some people about this crazy shit I am doing. So we're going to jump right into it today. Welcome to the onset of crypto summer. This time it's for real. No more joking around. It is crypto summer. It is about to turn on, and I'll tell you why. Forever chemicals are found in grape prime drink. Do you guys drink that? Do you know that when you drink that, that lip smacky hits the back of your throat like you just taste that there's something different, and you associate it with the jack that it's going to get you. But that extra something, supposedly those are forever chemicals that once they go into your body, there's no exit. I don't know what your body does with it, right? That's the problem. So look into this forever chemicals. I don't know if it makes sense, but just be careful what you put into your body. A rare epic sat right after the halving on Bitcoin, sold for $2.1 million. Chaos to clarity, noise to narrative. It is Friday, April 26th, and it is time for some rare bits. Today, the crypto greed and fear index is a 70. We slid 2 degrees from yesterday. We'll take it. NFT sentiment remains neutral. I don't even know what that metric means anymore because it just does not move, and it should have. It should be a daily movement indicator, and it doesn't appear to be. I'll explain why in 2 sentences. Next up, top crypto search term. And this is for the second day in the row. It means put this on your radar. It's HBAR, ticker sign HBAR. It's the Hedera token. It is up 39.4% on the 7-day. Top NFT search term is XDraco NFT. And this is interesting. This is a platform that uses the Hydra and Draco tokens to create liquidity. It is interesting. I didn't do a deep dive on it, but it's funny. When I woke up this morning, some days you wake up and you look at the news and it's tough because there's not a lot of fluctuation in what people are reporting on. This morning, I kind of woke up and there are new protocols, new marketplaces, new ecosystems, new blockchains, new layer 1 blockchains, all of these things geared around new payment rails. I mean, the news today is thick, so I found it super interesting. And this Hydra and Draco ecosystem interests me. I will do a deep dive on it, possibly in my Substack for tomorrow. But, excuse me, I wanted to share that with you. We have Bitcoin dominance down on the 24 hours while ETH dominance is up. Is this because D-Gods decided to go back to Solana? That's a terrible joke. We have total crypto market cap. It is coming in at about $2.5 trillion. And we're going to look at live chain metrics in a second. But for the Ethereum NFT volume, it is up, I don't know, like 200% over the last 24 hours. Why is that? Because we had a huge CryptoPunk sell for about $2.4 million. What are map metrics? Consensus, they're suing the SEC. We are going to get into all that, but before we are going to do some numbers for the nerds, and let me switch gears to that for you all. And as always, we kind of start this off. We are looking at the Bitcoin mempool as the miners are hard at work. We are watching the blocks being built. Next up, we are going to look at the crypto heat map. And as you can see, it is I don't know. We have a mixture, and we are looking at the 1 day. I'm going to quickly switch over and look at the 1 hour. Ooh, look at that. It is just an absolute sea of red. We are going to double click on all of these. Okay, so everything just turned red on literally everything turned red on the hour except Litecoin. Bitcoin is coming in at $63,716. Ethereum, $3,123. BNB is trading at 601. I love it when it stays above that 600 mark. Solana is trading at 143. It still cannot climb back toward that 200 mark yet. We have XRP trading at 518. Dogecoin, 0.148. That's down on the hour, day, week, month. Interesting. And it's only up 15% on the year. So this is one. Let's just double click on this for a sec. Leave some comments. So people seem to think that the indicator of the bull market will be Dogecoin. And I've talked about this on the podcast before, is that one of the indicators to me is when that hits $1, it's time to kind of sell your crypto, because we peaked out with this FOMO interest from everybody, right? The work that we're doing on crypto Twitter is spilled out beyond our zone, and the normies are involved. And when Dogecoin is above $1, to me, we're about to face a correction. So Dogecoin is down. Is this a time to buy? If we do believe that the bull market is coming, Dogecoin, this is a bargain price. It absolutely is. So there's some indicators we're going to talk about when we get into the news about what's coming with the bull market, why it might be coming starting possibly on May 1st, which would be Wednesday. So that is super exciting. I'm going to blow the horn and take a sip of coffee. Okay, so now we're not even going to look at the top sales because these fluctuate a bit. I told you the big sale, the CryptoPunk, but I wanted to look at the current volume. So Ethereum NFT volume, it's about $13.8 million for the last 24 hours. Bitcoin, 8.8. Solana, 3.5. So Ethereum just had a really good run. Excuse me. And it's interesting to watch the markets maneuver around. It wasn't too long ago that the Ethereum NFTs were dead. Bored Apes were down. We have Bored Apes. They are cranking back up. We're going to look at, Bored Apes, the floor price is up to 17 ETH, while the Pudgy Penguins, they're about 12 ETH. So the Bored Apes, and I posted a video about this, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago. I think the Bored Apes kind of just got to this point and said enough is enough. We are going to rally the community and floor price is going to go up. And that is kind of exactly what's happened. So I'd love to see this movement. You can see the Ethereum heat map. It's just a sea of green at the moment. We are going to double click on what's going on. So top 5 movers, we have Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, Pudgy Penguins, Azuki, and Milady Makers rounding out the top 5. Bored Ape Yacht Club, volume is up 92% on the 24 hours. Floor price is up 11.3% on the 24 hours. Currently trading at 16.5 Ethereum. That is about $51,900. Mutant Apes all the way up to 3.197. It's about $10,000. Pudgy Penguins, 12.39 Ethereum, $38,000. And Azuki, 4.5. And Milady Makers, they are just continuing their tear. They are trading at 5 Ethereum at the moment. Their volume is up 35% on the 24-hour. Their floor price has just remained steady. They're moving and shaking. We are looking at the Solana heat map at the moment, and you can see we have some green, we have some flat, and we have some red. What are we talking about? We're only going to look at the top 5 movers. We have Mutant Mon, Mad Lads, Froganas, Elixir's Lab, and Sharks by Sharkify rounding out the top 5. The next one down would be Tensorians. Volume is up 152%, and their floor price is down 8%. We are going to fix that. Sharks by Sharkify. Interesting. A lot of these are associated with token drops that have already happened, and there's movement and play to, that I think both of those collections are dealing with at the moment. We have Froganas. Okay, so interesting. There've only been about 1,000 trades in the last 24 hours. And if you remember, about 2 weeks ago, there was this clip where Froganas were trading between, 11 and 14,000 trades every 24 hours. So that volume is clearly slowed down a bit, but Mutanmon seems to be picking it up. So Mutanmon is there. They have about 7,500 trades in the last 24 hours. So that is really interesting. Next up, I wanted to, and this is also cool too. So this kind of surprised me about Magic Eden. So next we are clicking the Bitcoin ecosystem, and we'll just run through that real quick. We have Prometheans, Runestones, Blob, Node Monkeys, Arsic Meta Protocol, Rune Pups, Bitcoin Puppets, and Wizords, rounding out what we can see on the screen at the moment. Yeah, like you guys know, if you're interested, go to Magic Eden. They have a great UX UI if you're interested in this stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and click on the next tab, which is new. It was new to me this morning, which again is why, like, when I wake up and there's new news or new stuff in my flow, it makes me excited. So this morning when I woke up, what I found super exciting was the new Magic Eden tab, which has base NFTs. And I'm super excited about this. I have not done anything on the base ecosystem through Magic Eden yet. So this is going to be an exciting experience. I'm looking forward to it. I just want to look at, I'm just going to click and see sales for one day. So top sales. So they're already doing some good volume. The top 5 collections have all seen over 1,000 trades in the last 24 hours. This is going to be really interesting. And it brings up so many things that tie into this. So again, we're getting into a marketplace that now has all of these different ecosystems to go shopping. But we still have this clunky problem with the wallet, and things are on different chains, which is ridiculous. And future forward to what I'm going to talk about in a minute as we get into the news is there's some new payment rails that are coming on. So credit cards are going to incorporate crypto and make it really easy. So these rails need to be seamless. I was thinking about this morning. So we keep talking about onboarding people into this ecosystem. That will disappear when we stop, say, onboarding. When we don't need to onboard and explain the technology, that's the win. That's perfect UX UI. You have an iPhone, you want to purchase something. If it happens to be digital art, I want to press pay. I don't care what ecosystem it's on, what chain it's on, the currency that it's pinned on. It doesn't matter to me, right? If you're buying for investment reasons, yes, there's a portal for you, but to bring on everybody, make it just simple. I want to get in a car and go somewhere. That's it. I don't care how I get there. That's why Uber was so brilliant. They changed everything. They decentralized travel. The person booking, the computer booking it has nothing to do with the driver, has nothing to do with the person. Like, it's this decentralized system that works perfectly. When you're booking the Uber, you don't care how all that technology is happening. You just know, there's a driver coming and he shows up on my map. This is easy for me to do. I like it. That's what needs to happen with crypto. And I've talked about this live on X Spaces, is that to me, the magic in this is the wallet. The wallet is the onboarding mechanism. In my view, that is, make the wallet simple. So you have one wallet and it is so safe and secure and it does everything. And just like you can go to trading portals and there's a trader view or a consumer view, let's say. One's really easy to follow for the newbies. One is a bit more advanced and has technical flows that you can follow. Do the same thing for the wallet. I'm a newbie. I don't want to see any of the back end stuff. I just want to know what's my fiat balance, because that's simple for me. And then show me stuff I want to buy. Show me the fiat equivalency, and when I press pay, you do it for me. I'll pay a fee for it. Make it simple. I'll pay double. Make it fast. I'll pay triple. Like, the wallet is the answer. Next, the marketplace. That's another great answer. Magic Eden is kicking out both of these things. Their wallet's pretty banger. Their marketplace is banger. they're touching all these ecosystems, but there's still this disconnect that we need to solve. And I was listening to somebody talk this morning, and she was referring to the advent of Google and how amazing it was when it came out. And her qualm was that it's not that amazing. You still have to type something into a box. Like, that's ridiculous when you think about it on the grand scale. You still have to type. I mean, it's like the AI, right? You still have to do this. Like, when is it going to do it for us? And I don't know if that's the answer, but that's what good UX and UI is. Make it simple for us. I could go on and on about these analogies, but I'm not going to, just in the interest of losing the 3 or 4 participants that I have that either watch this or listen on the podcast or whatever. But yeah, I could go off on this. Next up, so this is another tab on Magic Eden. So these are the runes, and every time I have come back, the interface changes a little bit, and it gets better and easier and more understandable for somebody who might be new to this ecosystem. So if you are new to the Bitcoin ecosystem and new to this whole experience, we're on the runes tab, select a rune, boom. We see the top performing runes right now. And safe bet, if you're interested, allocate a little bit into the top 5, the top 10. It's a gamble, it's a shit show. You never know what's gonna happen, but it's an interesting, fun way to gamble on new protocols that if they turn into home runs, you'll be super happy that you were here listening to this message today. This is not advice at all. I'm just saying these are interfaces that are offering you brand new things that have come to the market. And it's very complicated acquiring these things, or it has been. Magic Eden, this particular website, is making it really easy to experiment with some of the things that are coming out today, which is interesting. You know, like sometimes I think it's almost worth just playing around with, because you don't want to let these types of things pass you by. And you never know what's going to happen. All this shit could go to zero. So that could happen too. So now I want to get into some interesting news that I have seen going on today. Okay, so I talked about the Ethereum NFT ecosystem rebounding, and not only do we see a lot of the collections going up, right? The Yuga assets across the board have gone up in floor price. I don't want to double click on any of those. I just want to talk broad paint stroke. So I think this initial, there was a slump where the Ethereum NFT market couldn't even get above $10 million. So that was broken, and it was done by this CryptoPunk 635. Sold for $12.4 million. And that breathes not only did it happen, not only is it a giant sale, not only did it happen on the Ethereum side of things, not only did it happen with the Yuga side of things, but there's also other things that are flowing in this interesting direction. Yuga just released 3D assets to the ape holders, and they're really interesting. So all of a sudden, the apes are able to play with their assets, similar to what Artifact did when they released their collection to their holders. So I commented on a tweet this morning that Yuga should have done this a minute ago, because they had these files, right? This wasn't something that has been, releasing this a while ago would have been interesting. It would have been, it's more chum in the water to keep the sharks at bay. I'm a huge believer in Yuga. I'm still so upset that my mutant was stolen. Rebounding from that is absolutely staggering to me. And I took a gamble in putting kind of all I had worked up toward into that mutant, and I did it because I felt like the bottom was in. Like I just see it rebounding, and of course it is. I don't have one anymore, so it's super fun. Next up, we have active NFT traders. They are rejoicing. Why? So the Ton Foundation, they just airdropped about 105,000 tokens, which is about $600,000 to eligible people who were not only playing, there were two games. You could be playing Get Games or XRare. So either one of those games, if you have been kind of in the mix of those, check your wallet because you were airdropped probably like a sizable amount of money. So these are just the airdrop. What an amazing term. It's only happens in crypto because you have this wallet. People can just send you stuff. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So interacting in these ecosystems, seeing people win and just cash in on just trying stuff out. It's a magical time. And I don't know that this stuff lasts forever. In my view, it might, you know, I think they're always going to figure out ways to gamify things, but this is a really interesting time to be alive and just experiencing what really creative people are doing on the financial things, because these tools that are being put into place, these are going to be here forever, right? This is going to be new money. It really is. Again, and I apologize, that is the horn that I drink a sip of coffee to. So next up, we have, so this, and I love this too. So this also kind of clips on what I was saying earlier, right? So a company called Transact, Transak, and VeChain, they're all of a sudden partnering together. Why? Because they're going to make NFT purchases happen with fiat. So again, why are they doing this? Because they've already got this ecosystem set up where they're in touch with holders and players in these ecosystems on this platform in 160 countries, right? So all over the world. So they're going to make it easy for 160 countries to participate simultaneously in the purchasing of these assets. Like these payment rails becoming simple like that is what it's about. And we're so close to being there. And I'll say it again. When we stop saying onboarding, that's when we're here, right? You don't onboard people to the web anymore. You don't. Right? Yeah, okay, so when we stop saying onboarding, that's when you know we've won. And until that moment, Next up, Shiba Inu. This caught my attention too. Why? Because one of my best friends he just aped into, I think it was his first crypto. And this is an interesting point as well for people that want to get into crypto. So I think one of the things that got people into crypto several years ago is this idea that they offer you these huge allocations of this token. Like you have billions and billions of this token, and if it goes to 1 penny, you win. And he was one of the people that bought into this, which is awesome, as did many people. Many people have done very well with that because a lot of these currencies do go up. We can look back at 10,000 Bitcoin being paid for 2 pepperoni pizzas. So these are things that actually happened. So Shiba Inu, its future, analysts are all of a sudden predicting it could surge to 0.001 by 2025, which is a shit ton, right? I don't know. People are excited about that. It's all about removing these zeros as the currency climbs in its adoptability. And when we look at the price charts, right, Shiba Inu, I think maybe in the last month, it's made the top 10 list maybe 1 or 2 days, maybe sometimes, I don't know, it flips around a bit. But when Shiba Inu gets into the top 10 and we start seeing the bull run really take off, these currencies that kind of go to the top, I think we're going to start to see a big difference between the top ones and the bottom ones. I don't think there's going to be a huge middle ground. And I could be wrong. I'm wrong about all kinds of stuff. That's why I live in my mom's basement. I don't live in my mom's basement. I live in the attic. That's a joke. Okay, next up, Consensus. They are going to sue They're just fighting back, and I don't even want to. So, Consensus sues the SEC. The company behind MetaMask argues that Ethereum shouldn't be classified as a security by the SEC. That is the crux for this discussion that they are going to get into. That is going to be something to keep on your radar. Next up, there has been this interesting argument that is coming out about meme coins and just having a terrible effect on the overall crypto market. And as far as NFTs goes, there used to be these cycles where NFTs would flow and they would stop because a meme coin would come out. And it kind of ebbed and flowed. There was this back and forth between the two. And we got into this point where the meme coins just didn't stop. They quadrupled. They 10x, they 30x. I think there must be 3,000 meme coins that come out, maybe more than that, every single day. So watching the competition for these meme coins to garner your attention is also really interesting. It's also a creative endeavor that's really neat to watch on another note. But are the meme coins good or bad for the crypto market? That is something to think about. And has Casey destroyed Bitcoin by bringing meme coins to it? Does it add value? Does it detract value? Does it create more market share? Does it dilute the market share that Bitcoin has tried to acquire as a sustainable asset that can bring actual value to people? These are arguments that remain to be seen, but it is really interesting to see the discussions start to come out. Next up, we have the United States Senators and Queen Boob, Senator Elizabeth Warren. I am not a fan of hers. Go John Deaton. She has gotten together with some other senators, and now they are going to use cryptocurrency to put in the crosshairs. And their new, so Elizabeth did this with terrorism, saying, and these were all bullshit stories that she put out into the press, but they still have an impact on the psyche of everybody. She put out bullshit stories saying the terrorists are using cryptocurrency. We need to outlaw it because they're facilitating terrorism, which was, when you looked at what she said, it was bullshit. So that track didn't work for them, right? Terrorism didn't work. So what's the next hanging fruit? Anything that has to do with child abuse. And what's crazy about this is nobody wants to get on the wrong side of anything that has to do with child abuse. But for her to take things that are of grave concern to everybody in the world and say cryptocurrency is being used to facilitate this. Anything bad, cryptocurrency is being used to make that easier. And these are lies. These are not truths. And she's using these falsehoods, and it's propaganda. She's using these false messages to trick people into believing a narrative that she wants. John Deaton, please run your ass off. Get her out of fucking office, please. She is a disservice to innovation, technology, freedom, and moving forward. She is a roadblock to all of those things. She's an innovation vampire that is forcing brilliant people to want to leave the United States and seek refuge in a place that creativity can foster growth. And you are not a proponent of that, Miss Warren. Not even close. It's absurd to think that you are in a position of power. John Deaton, go John Deaton. Yeah, Elizabeth Warren, you're a boob. Okay, next up, Bored Ape Yacht Club. I just told you guys that they released their 3D animated avatar downloads to all ape holders, which is, and I'll even touch on this, which is really interesting. So, along with decentralization and this ideology that technology is free and should be out there to everyone, which is what most of us in this space are believers in. Why is this interesting that Bored Ape gave this 3D avatar downloads to all the holders? Because basically they send you this file. And even if you are not, even if you have to be somewhat computer savvy, but they send you this file. So what do you do with it? How do you open it? What can you explore with it? And the answer is yes. So there is this brilliant 3D program called Blender. And this is an open source free program that is a technological wonder on creating, animating, coloring, lighting. You can do everything with it. And it is something you need to explore. And it's not second nature. The tools take a bit. The keystrokes take a bit to get familiar with. But once you are familiar with navigating the environment, to receive your asset and be able to play with it in that environment and create motions that you can add to GIFs, movies. You can rig your own ape to mimic your mouth. You can rig motions to, it's brilliant. And to receive these assets and have a program that you can play with for free and explore creative paths. If you have kids, you can set them on the computer and say, listen, push buttons, explore with this. And you would be amazed at what kids can do with technology that they've never interacted with if you give them something exciting to do it with. And then here's a perfect example is when kids are learning to, I grew up playing hockey. So when kids are learning to skate, right? Having a kid learn to skate, all they're thinking about is their feet. If you give that kid a hockey stick and say, go chase this puck, the skating becomes intuitive because they're chasing the puck and their feet just understand how to get them there. It is the most amazing progression of knowledge I've ever seen in my life. Coaching kids, talking to kids, watching young kids skate, that instance of watching a kid that can't skate, give them a stick and a puck and say, go chase this. They don't think about their feet. And within 10, 15 minutes, they're skating and it's brilliant. This is what a lot of this stuff is like. These assets, sitting down in Blender for these kids, you're giving them something to go, hey, make my ape, ask for dinner. Give the kids some, I don't know. It's so interesting. So these are creative endeavors that are really interesting. And then if the kid's smart, you can ask ChatGPT, hey, what are the command lines for me to access this in Blender? And I'm sure it can generate some stuff. So these are interesting ways to experiment. Take advantage of the things that are coming down the pike because technology is fucking amazing. And I don't know, I told you I woke up this morning. There's news today that is really exciting. So, sorry, I got to drink coffee. I should probably be drinking water when I record these podcasts. But again, I do this live and it's just one take. I just run through my shit. So there's a bunch of shit I wanted to get through. So I got to drink a bunch of coffee today. So this made me excited as well. So U.S. Treasury announcement. It is coming on May 1st. So this announcement that we are waiting for, it alone could trigger the Bitcoin bull run. So not only are technical patterns where they're basically saying we're ready to jump, this is another trigger that could just send it on a mission. So it could also just I'll go to hell in a handbasket on that. I don't know. I'm just fucking around. I think we are going up, but read my Substack and you will learn about what is happening on the 1st of May. But it is a trigger day. So if you're interested in deep diving, check out the Substack. If you just want to ride along. But yeah, just know that May 1st, we could see some serious action. And if you are interested in Bitcoin and if you did not decide to participate on May 2nd, you may be upset that you didn't participate or super glad that you did. So either way, Bitcoin's momentum is bullish. The 200-day, this is a TA, a technical analysis, right? Point that has nothing to do with the May 1st announcement. But the 200-day simple moving average is nearly at record high. And historically, this is a sign of significant price rallies are about to commence. when we look at that with all of these other macro factors, it puts some really exciting forecasted future on Bitcoin. We have Immutable. They are launching a massive crypto gaming reward program. It is called The Main Quest. It is offering up to 50 million. That's 50 million US dollars in tokens to participants. Users are incentivized for playing games and interacting with the ecosystem. You guys, these are new ecosystems. And I've said this in podcasts previous. So the idea for these new ecosystems is to future forward, right? Have amazing UX and UI, great user experience. How do they get that? They need a shit ton of users to experience it so they can look at the data and figure out how to make it smoother and better for the next generation of people. If you are the first generation of people, they are paying you for your time. That's how you have to look at it. This interaction, you are being paid for your time. It's a pain in the ass. Some of this is not easy. It's filled with friction. You are getting paid for reading the white paper, reading the directions, AKA understanding what they're asking and figuring out how to maneuver through it. That user experience, right? How long it takes you to get through, how many stops you have, all that stuff is calculated. That data becomes useful for them to make it better for the next generation. Be the generation that's getting paid for it, not the generation that just gets to slide in and spend money. Have them send you money instead of you sending them money, right? By the time the UX and the UI is good, they'll want money from you because they've got the kinks worked out. They spent a lot of money to get this shit like this. The money they spent, it's going to you. It's not going to advertisers. This is this network of people. This is communal. This is the digital version of grassroots. This is how tech is built now. This is the opposite of VC. This is interesting shit. Get involved with this stuff. That's all I'm saying. Next up, we have the Solana version 2 phone that is getting ready to come out. And there is some intel, once again, that by purchasing the phone, you are going to get airdrops that will, over a pretty short amount of time, generate profit so the phone is actually free. So this is another interesting idea, if you will. So think if you have a tech initiative and you're not sure if it's going to work and you would like to try some new hardware or software out, and you can put this in a packageable platform, a phone, a handheld device, a gaming device, whatever it is, a set of Wayfair glasses from Meta that has artificial intelligence in it, whatever it is. Tokenizing it, letting users receive tokens by being the user experience person, right? All of this is about helping these companies grow, have the experience, get paid for it. And the Solana 1 phone came out and it had a shit ton of token drops. Bonk was the big one, right? Bonk turned out to be such a winner for so many people. This next phone that is getting ready to come out. So I got some intel that there's some new tokens that are going to be associated with it. One is Mew, M-E-W. The second one is Maneki, M-A-N-E-K-I. So these are supposedly tokens that will be airdropped to the people that did the pre-order for the Solana 2 phone, which should be coming 2028. No, it doesn't come 2028. It comes, I don't know, sometimes next year. But I don't know if you can still get in on the pre-order, but these things, right? Like, again, you're running through the tech forum. They kind of figure out a way to pay you for your time and experience. And what was so neat about the Solana 1 phone was that one of the tokens that you got was helium. And the Solana phone can act as a helium cell phone spreader. Basically, Helium is a free network of cell phones where the service is free and it's created through user network of people operating a miniature cell tower. So you, by turning on your Solana phone, you are part of this mesh network so people can utilize free phone service. And every time people get on this network, you earn Helium token or the HNT token. So These are all these weird little incentives, these brick building things, how people are creating technologies of the future, and they're asking you to experience it. So I am a huge fan of what this new Solana 2 phone is going to do. Next up, we have the Strike CEO. He predicts literally just such a green candle for Bitcoin. He's talking 7 figures this cycle. He attributes this to potential surge in efforts aimed at just stuff that's happening in the bond market. And while these two things don't often correlate, there's some monetary policies that are happening and just some flip-flopping with headspace that is happening in these ecosystems. And I don't always follow the bond market or know how this stuff blends into the Bitcoin market because it's, none of this is my expertise. I'm just a fan and a lover of this stuff. And I like the news. I like to follow stories that motivate me, that inspire me, that I think are transformative, and how bonds affect Bitcoin. I don't give a shit. But if the Strike CEO thinks it's a big deal, I just listen. So I did write about this in my Substack this morning. People are fucking bullish on Bitcoin. People say buy Bitcoin. I say buy Bitcoin. I think it's super smart. I think it's a great investment. I am not a financial advisor. Clearly. Like that's completely evident to everybody, right? I am not an advisor of anything. I think on my channel it says I give terrible life advice. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just riding through it like everybody else, and I think it's fucking magical, the time that is upon us. And I want to help people from all different walks figure out a way to just get on board with this shit because it's fun and it's neat. And if you're here for the long haul, how fucking we're in the punk rock days of shit. Like this is it, If you're young, this is be punk rock. Get into this shit. Stripe, they are back in the crypto game. What is Stripe? They're a payment rail. It's a credit card payment rail. They used to offer Bitcoin, but it was too complicated. They're back in the game. They're saying all that shit is coming back online. We also are going to make it easy for you to deal in crypto. Earlier in the news article, I talked about this company that's trying to onboard 160 countries into these payment rails where they're going to have no idea that the back end is crypto. That's what we want. Here's another analogy. Everybody in this crypto NFT digital art ecosystem currently, we are all race car drivers. We have come to the track, think of it as like a passion sport where we all get together on the weekends. We are at the racetrack. We are running our cars. We know how to work on the cars, tune them, drive them. We are so close to the point where we no longer drive the cars, right? Self-driving, it's almost here. So the people that actually drive the cars, we're a dying breed. The idea is to have nobody drive cars. What does that mean? Soon people will not know how to drive cars, right? When we get to that point where people can't drive cars, those people will also never know how to work on a car, right? I know how to build a vehicle, work on it, fabricate it, weld it. I know how to do all those things. I can listen to the engine and understand where it's misfiring, what's wrong with it. Is it lean? Is it, Soon people will not have that skill set. All of us in the crypto space, we are mechanics. We understand the protocols. We understand the back end. We're getting close to the point where Stripe and these other companies are making the front end so good. We're getting to driverless vehicles for the crypto space. When people can get their Stripe account and buy stuff, they're no longer driving the vehicle that we're driving. Switching change, bridgings, doing all of these things that are filled with friction, right? We are the experiencers that are making this more simple so companies like Stripe can make it easier for the next generation. The next generation will not know what blockchains are. They'll know what their balance is, and if they want to buy something, they can buy it. That'll be the easy version. The next version, you'll know what your USD value is and what your other currency, like your experience level can go deeper and deeper, but the simple version, you will have a balance. And if you want to buy something, you can buy it. I said it earlier today, that there are people that will pay to have that done for them. Make it simple for me and I will pay you. I will pay you handsomely. That's it. That's where we're going. So we're getting ready to see driverless vehicles. Then, and that's even in the world, right? Elon is talking about driverless vehicles. I think all the Teslas now have the capability to be autonomous when the whistle is blown, and that can happen. Next up, let's future forward. How far in advance is it that kids no longer get a driver's license? Right? When I was a kid, when you were 15, you got your learner's permit, you had a year before you had to take your test, blah, blah, blah. That was your first taste of freedom, the vehicle to get the fuck away, right? For most people. Now, kids don't even want to drive. Like some kids, the only driving they've ever done is being taken to school by an Uber. Like they've never experienced, there's no carpool where 4 kids, one mom went to 4 different houses and picked up a bunch of kids to take, like that shit's gone. So will we get to the point where we don't even know how to drive? If all the cars are self-driving, it's not safe for humans to drive. That's the argument, right? The self-driving cars become safer than humans. And when that happens, no more. Do they outlaw humans from driving? You're not allowed to drive in the city limits. Like you can't bring a gun inside the city limits. Does that happen next? You can only drive outside city limits where there's less of a risk of killing people, because our cars that are autonomous are above and beyond anything that you can do as a human. So, man, do they outlaw driving? Interesting stuff. Whether this stuff happens, I don't know. Next up, and I think this is really neat, we have something called Mapmetrics, and they are switching blockchains. Before I even say, what are they doing? So they're switching from Solana to Peak, P-E-A-Q. It's a different kind of blockchain. What is Mapmetrics? Mapmetrics is awesome. So if you guys are familiar with STEPN, you would get these shoes and you can walk and generate money for walking, in essence, right? Again, they're testing these protocols out. You put on these sneakers, you log in and you go walk and you can earn money. And people that participate in this ecosystem religiously made 5 figures, 6 figures just for walking over the past couple of years, right? Like $10, $20, $30,000 for being a part of a protocol for the last couple of years religiously. These are realities. That's what's happening in this space, right? It's worth investigating in some of these protocols. So something that came up today, and the only reason it came up or I heard about it was because they decided to move blockchains from Solana to Peak. They're doing this for a different sort of decentralized physical infrastructure project that Solana, there's some underlying reasons why they're doing this, but it caught my attention and I kind of wanted to do a deep dive on Mapmetrics. And basically it is like STEPN, and you get paid for driving and mapping out locations. And just like you've seen those cars that have cameras on top that are doing Google Maps, there are initiatives where just driving different places, there is data to be collected. So if you are driving, let's say you're an Uber driver, get hooked up with Mapmetrics. You're already driving around places. Why not get paid a crypto token to do what you're already doing? And that could compound to something worth a lot of money in the future. So these are things that are really interesting. Again, it's Mapmetrics, one word. Not a commercial, nothing. I just thought it was interesting news and I am sharing it with you. Now, I'm gonna get into some other news that has happened. I don't know, that's interesting. We have Puffverse. They just secured $3 million in fundings for its PuffGo game. This is gonna be happening on the Ronin blockchain. Why is that interesting? That's where Axie Infinity happens. That is the biggest crypto game in the world. Anything that happens on Ronin is worth watching. Put that on your ecosystem. Beam, a gaming-centric subnet on Avalanche Network, aims to revolutionize Web3. Beam, this new subnet, they are making things super easy for people to create games. They're offering SDKs, which are software developer kits, where it's basically open source stuff. They say, here's a kit. This is what you use to develop in our world. They make it easy for you to do that. They make exploration easy. They're trying to invite people in. So watching the gaming, Web3 gaming space kind of take hold and watch where people are going. Are they going to go to Solana? Are they going to go to Base? Are they going to go to Avalanche? Are they going to go to Ronin, right, where Axie Infinity is? All of these different ecosystems have different reasons for interacting on them. What it also does is creates separation. And it's fucking confusing if you're new. How many wallets do you fucking need to play in this ecosystem? And the answer is right now, about 10 of them. About 10 different fucking wallets if you want to fuck around in this ecosystem. Now, granted, a lot of the wallets you can mix, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, that's also new. But Ronin, Celestia, some of these blockchains have their own wallets that it's not all mixed together yet. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So when the UX UI gets better, it will not be called onboarding. That's when the change really begins. Next up, NFT landing platforms see a surge with 2.13 billion in Q1 of 2023. Doesn't seem like NFTs are dead, does it? Node Monkeys and Bored Ape Yacht Club are dominating NFT sales. They've done about 1 million each over the weekend, so they are just absolutely cranking. Anything else I want to touch on real quick? We have Europe. They are tightening its grip on crypto with some new AML, anti-money laundering laws. Everybody is going to clamp down on this stuff. Again, we are going to get down to this final argument of how much privacy do individuals have the right to have. As we explore decentralization and money becomes universal for everybody, how much right to privacy do you or I possess as humans? Do we have a right to privacy? The governments are saying no. That is going to be one of the final arguments that we are going to see. Polkadot, they are doing some neat things. So on Polkadot, they have different things called parachains. So on their ecosystem, you open up a different chain depending on what you want to do. And there's a new parachain that opened up. It's called Storage Hub. It is going to be aimed at improving data storage efficiency. So Polkadot, somebody that's been in the game for a minute, all of these companies kind of work on these new things. And when they get a breakthrough, it becomes something that other ecosystems can learn from. While I think creation happens siloed, unfortunately, in many of these ecosystems, a lot of this stuff is on GitHub and it is open source. And that stuff, it's magical because people get inspired and they learn from each other in real time instead of as an afterthought. So some of these things are absolutely brilliant. If you guys are familiar with, I think it was in 2017 when there was a congressional testimony, and I don't know if it was Janet Yellen. I want to say it was Janet Yellen, but there was a gentleman that was behind Janet Yellen that held up a yellow legal pad that said "Buy Bitcoin," and that legal pad was just purchased for 16 Bitcoin from an OG Bitcoin person. And like when I say an OG Bitcoin person, somebody who has a shit ton of Bitcoin, and they got it well before 2017 at just ridiculous prices. So while it's, think if you there was 10,000 Bitcoin spent for 2 pizzas, right? Like think if you had amassed Bitcoin back then, spending 16 Bitcoin for a keepsake like this is nothing, but it was an expensive price tag. But it is nice to see the buyer and seller unite over, I don't know, this piece of history. And I don't know, it made me smile. Surveys show that the increased crypto exposure for Canadians is up to almost 40%. The Canadians, even though they still have milk in a bag, they're figuring out that crypto is for everybody. We have high transaction fees on Bitcoin that has been kind of due to a bunch of this shit with the runes. Have runes absolutely ruined Bitcoin? We don't know. It's crazy. You know, and that's what I got on this Friday. If you guys have comments, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know. I don't know. Sometimes I want to go off on rants about this stuff. At some point, I will figure out how to do interactivity where I can have the chat going, and I don't know. It's a lot for me to figure it out. I can barely wet my whistle. The secret sauce for today. Sometimes when you're in a dark place and you think you've been buried, the trick is look at it like you've actually been planted. Remember, the rabbit hole runs deep. Still craving crypto clarity? Subscribe to my Substack today. Warning, rare bits may cause hodling.